Good day everyone, I am Michelle Angelo Habaybay Omo, and today I'm going to present my analysis of Never Let Me Go, one of the pieces of contemporary literature. It is set in a dystopian version of late 1990s England where ordinary citizens' lives are extended by a state-sanctioned human cloning program. The clones, known as students, are raised in special institutions away from the outside of the world. And now I am going to discuss its symbolism. It symbolizes the depths of human love and the fear of losing those whom one loves. And this becomes clear to the reader when Kathy explains the lyrics of the song. She imagined that the song is about a mother too scared of losing her children. This image of holding on to something you love recurs multiple times. Next is the theme. In Never Let Me Go, there are three themes. First is the identity, second is the nostalgia, and the third one is friendship. Identity. In Never Let Me Go, Kazuo Ishiguro shows the theme of identity through the students' keenness to find their possible the importance of the collection in the students' lives, the needs to have artistic talents as a way of projecting a unique identity. Nostalgia. During the course of the novel, Kathy spends a great deal of her time reminiscing about the past. She feels nostalgic about the time she spent in Hailsham, and on the whole has only fond memories of the years she lived there. Were Kathy's constant comments about her past. Friendship. In Never Let Me Go, Kazuo Ishiguro shows the theme of friendship through Kathy's determination to be a career for past Hailsham students and the way Kathy, Ruth, and Tommy are reunited near the end of the novel. These three themes are all evident when looking closely at the lives of Kathy H., Ruth, and Tommy from the time they are all at Hailsham School to the time they become careers and eventually donors. Let us now proceed to the character analysis. First is Kathy. Kathy reflects on her time spent at Hailsham because she is aware of how fortunate she was to be in a place where she and the others were given upbringings that were as close to typical as was possible. She becomes Ruth's caretaker and then becomes Tommy's carer and lover as she recounts the story of her two best friends, Ruth and Tommy, in Hailsham and the cottages. Kathy presents as introspective, non-aggressive, calm, and pretends to be an observer. Her objective is to reach over people, thus, she occasionally speaks to their desires rather than her own thoughts or feelings. She continues to be influenced by Ruth's volatile and dynamic personality for the majority of her time at Hailsham and the cottages. Yet, as an adult, Kathy asserts that she speaks up for her donors as a caregiver. Next is Tommy. Tommy is a sensitive and active person. Because of his poor artistic abilities and temper tantrums, he is bullied in addition to for his lack of creativity. Ruth has always stood between Tommy and Kathy despite Tommy's love for her. Tommy stops throwing fits once he realizes that art is essentially irrelevant to Hailsham students. Near the end of his life, he meets Kathy again, and they fall in love. He finally makes an effort with Kathy to postpone their donations by showing Madame his art as evidence of the depth of his devotion. Third is Ruth. Ruth is unpredictable, in control, and manipulative. She is the group leader as a child, and the others submit to her authority. When she was a teenager, she frequently treated her boyfriend Tommy cruelly and prevented him from loving Kathy. However, after receiving care from Kathy, she asked for forgiveness and brought the two back together for Tommy's final days. Ruth is driven by a need for love. This desire is evidenced by her delusions, deceit, and illusion of specialness. Her contradictory personality is shown in her unexpected acts of charity and brutality. She desires what others don't have, yet she also wants to fit in. Fourth is Madame. Marie Claude, also known as Madame, is a gorgeous woman who takes the best art produced by the Hailsham students. Although the students are unsure of the reason, they believe she has a gallery. Her goal is to persuade people that the students are human beings with souls who should be treated as such. She uses their artwork as evidence. Although she does feel pity for them and sobs when she sees Kathy embracing a pillow and swaying to the tune of Never Let Me Go. The Hailsham children fear and repel her despite her right intentions. Fifth is Miss Emily. Miss Emily is a strict disciplinarian who is neither cruel nor unreasonable. Miss Emily does everything she can to make the children's lives enjoyable and meaningful, nurturing them as thinking and feeling fellow humans instead of laboratory creations. She works behind the scenes to fight for the children and, alongside Madame, tries to convince people that the children are real people with souls. Lastly is Miss Lucy. Miss Lucy is a young woman who is athletic and outspoken. She tries to console Tommy, but telling him he doesn't seem to be artistic. She does, however, indicate why the children are at Hailsham and how one's lives have indeed been planned to do is provide organs to people until they die, as a result of donating them. As a result, she is expelled from school. We have also here the setting. Setting in time. Late 1990s, although Kathy's memories reach as far back as the early 1970s. Setting in place. Various locations in England, including the fictional Hailsham School, the also fictional cottages, and the towns of Norfolk, Dover, and Kingsfield. The author's background. Kazuo Ishiguro was born in Nagasaki, Japan on November 8, 1954. He came to Britain in 1960 when his father began research at the National Institute of Oceanography and was educated at a grammar school for boys in Surrey. Afterwards, he works as a grouse beater for the Queen Mother at Balmoral before enrolling at the University of Kent, Canterbury, where he read English and philosophy. He was also employed as a community worker in Glasgow on 1976 and after graduating, worked as a residential social worker in London. He studied creative writing at the University of East Anglia, a member of the postgraduate course by Malcolm Bradbury, where he met Angela Carter, who became an early mentor. He has been writing full-time since 1982. In 1983, shortly after the publication of his first novel, Kazuo Ishiguro was nominated by Granta magazine as one of the 20 best of young British writers. He was also included in the same promotion when it was repeated in 1993. In 1981, 3 of his short stories were published in Introduction 7, Stories by New Writers. His first novel, A Pale View of Hills, in 1982, narrated by a Japanese widow living in England, draws on the destructions and rehabilitation of Nagasaki. He has also written two original screenplays for Channel 4 television, A Profile of Arthur J. Mason, broadcast in 1984, and The Gourmet, broadcast in 1986. He was awarded the OBE in 1995 for services to literature and is Fellow of the Royal Society of Literature. He was awarded in the Chevalier d'Ordre des Arts et des Lettres by the French government in 1998. His work has been translated into over 30 languages. In 2017, he won the Nobel Prize for Literature. Kazuo Ishiguro lives in London with his wife and daughter. Let us proceed to the analysis. The setting for the novel was purposefully chosen by the author to be far from the city where the majority of the British people at the time resided. And actually, the main character, Kathy, hardly ever interacts with normal citizens. Hence, it further isolates the students from the ordinary world. Similar to this, horror stories told at the school, particularly one in the 6th chapter, also emphasize the feelings of isolation. At Hailsham, there are rumors that once a student escapes from the institution, the students in question later tried to return but was denied, and as a result, he later died suddenly. Kathy was terrified when she heard the story, and the thought of leaving the school grounds never occurred to her. Moreover, although it is never discovered, it is reasonable to assume that the guardians at Hailsham planted the rumors in order to scare the students away to the outside world. Whereas students were taught many things, they have never been taught about their own lives. When talking about the issue with Kathy, the character Tommy proposed this idea. The guardians at Hailsham informed the students of their fate, but the information was mixed in with other things. As a result, the message was never officially registered by the students. This wasn't a coincidence, as Madame, one of the founding members of Hailsham, subsequently revealed in the second to last chapter. The key goal was to ensure that the students never experienced pain, because they knew they would die through surgery and donate their organs. That was too sad to admit the reality. The students were cut off from both the reality and the alternate lives that existed for common people as a result of the teaching. To sum up, Never Let Me Go is definitely a sad tale. It depicts a dystopian world in which a particular set of people are isolated from normal daily life and society due to their differences. Kazuo Ishiguro seems to be stating that the social isolation is a much bigger problem in our culture than we think. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Have a great day ahead.